Ta-da! That's right, Germany have made it through to the round of 32. In fact, they've secured top spot. How? By beating Ivory Coast. What went down? Well, I'll tell you next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video. Today we're taking a look back at the Group E encounter between Germany and the Côte d'Ivoire. That's right. Of course, it happened yesterday. Been a little bit busy. Been trying to catch up, of course. But Germany are there into the round of 32. But let's talk about how we got to that point. Of course, we'll get into all of it in just 1 second. If you know where you're in, smash your subscribe. You're one-stop shop for Papa Rovers World Cup reviews. That's right. We're reviewing the Group E encounter between Germany and, of course, a bit of a heavyweight themselves, Ivory Coast, of course. What went down? Well, I'll showcase you in it in just a second. Big shout out to my members, big shout out to my patrons, big shout out to you. We are here to talk about this, guys. But can we get 48 likes? Bit of an ask, of course. Some of these reviews hit, some of them don't. Make this one hit. 48 likes on this one, but it was a case of two different halves. In fact, it wasn't really. I think Germany were in this game throughout. Ivory Coast did take the lead, and of course made it hard work. It made the Germans dig deep into their souls there to try and get something out of this game. At one stage, I probably would have settled for a draw, but guess what? Dennis Undav had completely different agenda. I wanted to make sure we took all 3 points, and which we did, and it went down to pretty much the last kick of the game here. But Ivory Coast, you know, they are a difficult team to break down, of course. Again, if we played this game between these two nations 100 times, I would say Ivory Coast could win about 30 of them. So it's not a one-way. It's not always going to be this way, but Germany just found a way to grind it out, get the result, and apply the pressure, which they did. Ivory Coast took the lead, and at that point, it kind of a deserved lead. It wasn't a fluke. It was a goal that was kind of warranted, but Germany definitely had their chances, and they did. It was just a matter of when they were going to score. But unfortunately for us, it was late, and it was a grind, and ultimately took pretty much a couple of a tactical masterclass in the end. I think for Julian Nagelsmann, bringing on some changes, Undav being one of them, and of course his nous for a goal was definitely a huge factor. But as you can see, shots wise, Ivory Coast definitely in this game, but Germany definitely had more chances, and we're a little bit unlucky not to have a couple of goals after they were struck off with for whatever reasons. But anyway, 59% possession for Germany, 41% possession for Côte d'Ivoire. Let's take a look at the personnel then for this team. As you can see, of course, 2-1 it was at the BMO field, of course, with a 43,000 attendance yesterday on Group E, with Neuer between the sticks. Maybe a hot take? No, I'm not sure if I've not seen anything between the last game and this game here that I'm overly impressed. He's had to pick the ball out at the net twice. I don't think he's at his prime best. I would not be adverse, especially in the next game against Ecuador, to change it up and see if we got a better keeper on their books, because I think Neuer could be a weak link. Yes, he's experienced. Yes, he knows what he's doing in regards to keeping the ball on his feet and whatnot, but a couple of lacks of concentration. I think we could do a lot better in between sticks. And this is the first time I've ever criticised Manuel Neuer. Yesterday, despite winning the last couple of games, two instances where I thought he could have done a bit better resulted in goals. So anyway, he was in goal. Schlotterbeck, of course, was playing, but he was injured, was taken off at half-time. Jonathan Tah, Nathaniel Brown, we had Joshua Kimmich as well. Meanwhile, to midfield, Alexander Pavlovic, Felix Nemecha, Jamal Musiala, Florian Wirtz, Leroy Sané, and Kai Havertz up top. A lot of changes needed. We had to take off Sané, Havertz as well, and of course those changes worked. We'll talk about them in a minute. As for Ivory Coast, Yahya Fofana between the six, Kusanu at the back of Bagadu, Conan and Singo making up a back four. Sangari, Frank Kessie, Cristiano Ali, Yan Diamande, of course the highlighter there, of course Amad Diallo with Yaan Boune up top. He's just 22 years of age, playing on the books of Inter Milan. He is, of course, their presence. But the goal came from Frank Kessie, the veteran or veteraning midfielder. As for the changes, of course, Rudiger coming on for Schlotterbeck there, Goretzka, Amiri. We also had Jamie Lewings, Dennis Undav with the goals. As for Ivory Coast, Giladue coming on there, Seko Fofana, Simon Andringa, Nicolas Pepe, and Evas Gassard there. And they ain't no slouches, guys. They, of course, a good squad valuation for this team. As for the performances, though, What we're looking at here, the man of the match being Fofana with 8.0. He was the busier of the two goalkeepers and, of course, made it hard work for Germany to break down. But, of course, other good performances for Sangari in midfield, Kessie alongside him in there, Demande as well with a 7.2. As for the Germany, no one really stood out. Wirtz was 7.4. The match goal was 7.4. The fullbacks as well, over 7. Jean Vital was 7.5. On average, though, Germany shaded 7.01 compared to Côte d'Ivoire 6.78. But what does that mean for the table? Well, I'll show you that in a second. Quick look at the momentum at the sea of green with those flirting moments that Ivory Coast, basically they had their chances they took it, they took the lead and they put Germany in a bit of bother, which of course they had to ramp it up a little bit in the second half. A little bit of fight back here by the Ivory Coast towards the back end, maybe trying to win it themselves, but that opened up an opportunity for Undorf again to put the game to bed. As for the table, looks like this Germany are now guaranteed to go through as champions, number 1 spot, after Ecuador's a surprising draw with Curacao late last night. Ivory Coast still in a good position. Of course, they will take on Curacao next. A point or more will do it. I think a point or more will guarantee them second place in this group. Ecuador still got a bit of work to do. They need to win against Germany because I don't think a point is going to cut it, or 2 points ain't going to cut it. So they got, looks like it could be an early exit for Ecuador at the moment, depending on how serious Germany take this next game. As for the fans, of course, a lot of them out there. Well done, Germany beating 12 men. I never want to see that ref again. That's Michael Sifia. Meanwhile, Smart Mike says, our German machine has arrived. Well done. Congrats, lads. Docton, the Nigerian, said they're looking like low-key contenders for this World Cup title, though if we're being honest. Meanwhile, Arena Network says Germany qualifying is news. Germany dominating is tradition. Raul said Ivory Coast fought bravely and were minutes away from a favourite result, only for Germany to snatch victory at the end. And then Bruce Nana says Germany back in the knockout football where they belong. The machine is waking up. Round of 32 just got dangerous. Was it dangerous enough for you guys? Well, you got it right. 68% of you have got the right vote there. Picking Germany. Ivory Coast were 22. The draw's at 10. As for the ping pong balls, they went with Ivory Coast. They were close, but no cigar. But the cat, she knew what she was doing and got it right. As for me, let's head to the board. As for me, I went with a 2-0 win for Germany against the Ivory Coast, so close to the mark on that one. So all we need to do now is update the scoreboard here for Germany. 2-1 victory for them to guarantee the round of 32 and also top spot in the group. Well, there you have, folks. There you bloody have it. Germany are into the round 32 as number 1. Of course, cannot change that, which means it will probably likely change in the next game for Germany as they take on Ecuador in a couple of days' time. So, of course, don't forget we'll be back with that previewing that game. So make sure you subscribe and, of course, check out the predictions on the channel. But until then, Ivory Coast need a bit of work. Oil the wheels a little bit, and maybe take the shackles off against Curacao. But anyway, that's, of course, to look forward to. But until then, we're done.